What is up, guys? Hope everybody's having a great day. Today, I wanted to talk about the combination of trust and transaction. And so this is actually something in my own life that I've been thinking about a lot recently, because I think what happens is I view two sides of business that I've really started to look at. There's a side that's more relational, emotional, and more built on trust and value. And then there's a side that's more transactional, that's more upfront and being blunt. And so when I was an entrepreneur in the very beginning stages, which is like the first year of being an entrepreneur, I've been running my agency for like 5 years now, but I used to believe that everything was built off of relationships, and over time you could build transactions. What I'm starting to realize is what I've learned is that the best way to do it is actually in reverse. And here's what I mean. It's that if you have a transaction established with somebody and over time they deliver on that transaction, well, then you can start to build a relationship. And what I've learned is that for me personally, I used to go through this a lot where I would build a relationship with somebody and I would almost become friends with them. And the issue with that like if you do that in the beginning off rip, is the fact that if you do that in the beginning, over time, if there's a transaction that's taking place that's not up to standard, whenever you try to confront the person, all of a sudden it makes it super awkward. So here's what I mean. Let's say somebody hires me to do videography, right, for their business, right? And I am a freelancer, right, versus an agency firm owner. And originally we become friends and they say, it may be a good idea to hire you. And then they hire me and I start to drop the ball on the transaction that we have established, and I'm paying them money, or they're paying me money, sorry. Because we have this relationship here and our connection is built on that relationship first, oftentimes it makes it hard to have this conversation whenever you're dropping the ball with a transaction. And so what I've learned is that if you establish the transaction first, building the relationship on the back end is a lot easier. And so that's why now, as I go into business, as I form new relationships, I always make sure that we are hitting the nail on the head and meeting the expectations of the transaction. Because if not, it's easier to find somebody else who can fill that role, versus if you have a relationship with somebody and they feel like they're being blindsided because the transaction you have in place, they're not able to hit the mark. And so when I talk about trust and transaction, right, I think that business is a happy medium, because I think that if you have too much trust and all you're focused on is bringing value, you're almost like the homeless artist or the guy asking for pocket change to play the saxophone on the side of the road. It's like, yes, you are doing something that you enjoy, but at the end of the day, you're not reaping the rewards of it in any other aspect of life, because you haven't necessarily thought about a transaction. On this side, if you're only transactional, people over time start to see that, and they go to other people who they can form a relationship with as well in business. And so I think this goes with business, this goes with building a team. But one of the things I want to talk about today is this is very important in your marketing too, and this is why it's important. If you are somebody who's just out there who continues to give value, give value, give value, give value, but you don't ever ask or you don't ever try to transact anything from the connections you're building, you will be like the artist, like the saxophone player on the side of the road asking for pocket change, because you have to ask for a transaction in order to scale a business. And on the flip side, if you're always somebody who's trying to sell something to somebody, trying to raise funds, and you're not worried about bringing any value, over time, people won't even want to talk to you, because people are relational, right? Like, people don't buy from brands or organizations, they buy from other people. And so you can't just necessarily be 100% transactional. And so I think you have to find a happy medium with the product or service you're trying to promote. You have to be able to provide value, and then you can talk about the transaction from the external. The cool thing about this is I think internally, when it comes to building a team and making partnerships and building relationships, it's almost a flip. You almost want to have the transaction established first, and then you can build the relationship. And so I use the word trust and transaction just because of the alliteration. It's easy to remember, but I'm here to tell you that if you want to be able to market effectively, if you want to be able to build teams effectively, if you want to be able to create partnerships and processes right, You have to be able to incorporate trust and transactions and figure out the perfect formula that will apply to you and that will help your business and the product or service that you're trying to promote. So this video is really quick today, but I just wanted to get on here and talk about that because I think what happens right now in business, and I'm even experiencing it, is we talk so much about relational that we don't factor in that the proper relationships that are made in business are the ones that are built off of transactions that when people deliver, they can form a relationship that'll last a lifetime. Always remember, a client will become a friend, a team member will become a friend faster than a friend will become a client, or faster than a friend will become a team member. So always remember, internally, do the transaction first, then build a relationship. But from the external, from your marketing, focus on the relationship and then ask for the transaction. Have a great day and God bless.